under the lights tonight. The battle of the northern part of the United States. Minnesota and South Dakota state champions set to do battle in the Midwest region. The winner of this game gets to move on to Wednesday and a very significant position. Right now we've got two undefeated teams. I guess you can count Coon Rapids as one, as they'll try to join Webb City and Sioux Falls in that winners department. Of course, one of those two teams will have a defeat before the night is over. Jim Barber and John Gregory played in the LA Dodgers baseball organization. And isn't it interesting? Typically teams that have a day off or a bye, as is the case as Minnesota, there are some nerves and some jitters prior to that. But when you talk to the coaches and you see the bench, well, I don't see it.
No stress at all. This team's been over on the other field working out. They're ready to play after 2 days of waiting to play baseball. Well, they get a game that's extended a little longer, so makes them wait a little bit more. But boy, are they ready to go.
Yes, Mike Koenig's got a good-looking team, and he faces a South Dakota team tonight that used only 4 hits in its 9-0 win in the opening round. Really made hay of everything. Mason Riley got it started with a huge hit.
Yeah, well, they're very patient at the plate. They'll draw some walks up there, so they're not going to go up there just swinging at the first pitch. Patience gets guys on base, and then they're able to get guys over and drive them in. And boy, do they have a guy on the mound today in Marcus Phillips that we can see maybe touch 74 miles an hour, something we have not seen in this tournament yet.
So Marcus Phillips, who wears number 5, set to go to work. He admires comedian Kevin Hart. He is 6 feet 165, 13 years of age, and he can get the baseball up to 72 miles an hour. Jeff Riley, the skipper of the team, told us prior to the game he could probably throw faster than that. I would prefer not, because I prefer control.
That's right. He said at 85% he's good enough to get out, so he's not asking him to throw 100%, and 100% could be 72, 73, so he's fine around 70 miles an hour. Feels like he can get outs and maybe control the strike zone a little better that way.
He will face Tyler Lunau in the leadoff position, then Jacob Deichel, Andrew Price, Hayden Torgerson will bat 4th, Seth Saunders, the left fielder, is at 5th, Jackson Koenig bats 6th, then Matthew Olson, the center fielder, Noah D'Agostino, and Wyatt Heppel. That's the starting 9 for Mike Koenig and Coon Rapids Andover. Game underway. Back to the pitcher. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, that was quick.
Well, if you're going to attack Marcus Phillips, I guess go after him early. You don't want to get behind the count and let that fastball go. So good quick start for him, and boy, would he like that. You want to get strikeouts, but how about efficiency there? Just 1 pitch and an out.
Now facing Jacob Deichel, the catcher. Deichel hits one deep, and it is gone. 2 pitches, a comebacker, and a bomb. 1-0 Minnesota. How about the start to this game?
Wow. You know, he was described as a small guy to us with a lot of power. Yeah. Well, that shows right there. Not a big guy, but look at that. You turn around a 70-mile-an-hour fastball, make good contact with it, good quick hands. That's something they worked on in the cages before this. Just get quick bats, and he timed that up perfectly and gives them a 1-0 lead.
Well, 3 pitches and already 3 strikes thrown, 1 for an out, another for a homer, and now a foul ball by Andrew Price. He's the first baseman for Minnesota. Batting in the number 3 position, good all-around player and a big contact hitter. He's got an old school celebrity look. He likes Harrison Ford. So it didn't take long. 1-0 in our game, and this one goes opposite field, down the right field line, and caught. Nice defensive play in right field by Jason Grevengood. 2 outs.
Grevengood had to go a long way to get this. Not sure if it was going to be fair or foul, but doesn't matter. He gets there and makes the catch. That's about as long as run we've seen in right field, a catch made. We've seen a couple in center field, but he covered a lot of ground.
Well, this Minnesota team has come out swinging. In fact, they're jumping on every first pitch. Phillips will work from the stretch. This one sky toward right field. Will it stay in play? Good effort by Good. And the count goes to 0-2.
Well, you're right. This Minnesota team coming out swinging right out of the box. They've been waiting for 2 days to get an opportunity to get up there and take their hacks, and they're not wasting them early in this game.
That's the way to do it, right?
That's right.
Hayden Torgerson, 13 years of age. Awaiting a 2-strike pitch with 2 outs and a 1-0 lead in the first. Inning over. But not before Jacob Deichel lights up Marcus Phillips with a home run. After a half inning, it's Minnesota 1, South Dakota coming up. Welcome back. Hayden Torgerson now set to take to the mound for Minnesota, which has a 1-0 start on a home run by Jacob Deichel. Over the left field wall. There's a good look at Torgerson. Then I'd have the velocity of Marcus Phillips, but he does a whole lot of other things right.
No, he just a little bit shy of that. He'll touch 70 miles an hour. It's fastball, curveball for him. Again, he's got pretty good size at 5'7", 140 pounds. So he may not touch 74 like on the other side, but he's another strike thrower for this Minnesota team.
His job is going to have to be to figure out leadoff hitter Cohen Henry. Henry in the game against Kansas, in which South Dakota won 9-0, walked 4 times and scored a run. Then it's Griffin Wilde, Marcus Phillips, and Ethan Bruns, 1 through 4. Mason Riley, who started the rally in that game against Kansas, bats 5th. Jack Riddell 6th. Bo Gilbin is 7th. Ty Noctaborn, the first baseman, is 8th. And Jackson Grevengood, who made that fine play in right field, will hit 9th. So here's Henry, still looking for his first official at bat. And the words from Jeff Riley, the skipper, to him was, you know, don't take that first pitch all the time. That's a good pitch to hit. You can turn on that. Did take that first strike. Shadows now on the diamond. Lights have been on for a couple of hours. The last of 4 games today, as we look for another winner to continue in the winner's bracket, 2-1. Henry, Wilde, Phillips in the inning, 2-2. Webb City, Missouri, a winner today, 4-2 over Nebraska, coming from behind. Base hit left field. And so Henry swats away a 2-2 pitch, and he's aboard to start the bottom of the first for South Dakota.
Coco decides to take the bat off the shoulder and put it in play, and promptly delivers one into left field for his first hit of this regional.
Here's Griffin Wilde with a long look down to third base. And manager Jeff Riley. By the way, John, I know you're into social events. Big party tonight in Sioux Falls.
Oh, yeah.
Tony and Christine Erickson are hosting it. Christine is the sister of Adam Vinatieri. Still kicking and kicking superbly for the Indianapolis Colts. They got the mayor showing up tonight. And while you may not have received an invitation to it, I understand it's the party of the year.
Yeah, why not?
Watching our broadcast and rooting on the team. Drop third strike, throw down to second base. Everybody is safe. Well, in that situation, you almost felt that catcher Deichel would go to first. It didn't need to, really, because batter is out. created a little bit more drama than needed be. So that was the correct play, trying to get the runner going from first and second.
Yeah, pretty smart move, knowing that guy's going to second base there, throwing that out, and that's being heads up, get it in there. And you were talking about big moments. Well, here's a big guy at the plate.
Here's Marcus Phillips, waving that bat over the plate. Strike one. This Sioux Falls, South Dakota team is undefeated. It's 1-8. Defeated Rapid City along the way to the state title and Fargo in the championship. Marcus Phillips had a rough go in the state tournament, but came back in the title game through 5 2/3 and struck out 13.
And that's part of what his coach was telling us before this ball game. Jeff Riley was saying, don't overthrow. He only threw 35 pitches in game 2 and came back to throw 85 in the championship game in that 3-1 win over Fargo.
Ethan Bruns would be next. Runner at second base, 1 out, bottom of the first. Minnesota got the jump on a homer by Jacob Deichel. By the way, we mentioned Adam Vinatieri, the ageless kicker for the Colts. I think he's going to go longer than Tom Brady at this point. And his performance never seems to waver. Change of pace, base hit Phillips. That'll tie the game. Marcus around first, digging for second. He will have a stand-up double, and we're even at 1-1. Phillips hit a laser to center field, scoring Cohen Henry.
Well, we were waiting for Phillips to display some power. You can see him. That pitch was a little inside, but he pulled his hands in, able to get the big part of the bat on the ball that time, and lines it out to left center field and easily scores Henry from second base.
Third baseman Ethan Bruns down the right field line and foul. What a contrast between the game we had prior to this, where walks, wild pitches, pass balls, stolen bases were aplenty. These two teams have come out with the bats ablazing.
Boy, and it makes for such a better game to watch, doesn't it? When
oh, I agree.
You've got all this action going on, guys throwing it across the plate. And
by the way, you made Ethan Bruns a celebrity by referring to him as Easy E.
Easy E, Coco, they got them all, don't they?
Going to get an own hashtag, website. Who knows what's next after this fame and fortune. At the plate with a 2-strike count, and continues to stay alive.
Well, you see South Dakota right now. They're a little tardy on some of these pitches. You can understand it. 70-mile-an-hour fastball equates to a 90-mile-an-hour major league pitch. And Jeff Riley said they were a little tardy in that first ball game, so they were working on the cage to try to get their hands a little bit quicker, speed up the bats in anticipation of this guy tonight.
South Dakota had only 4 hits in the game, but because he was the beneficiary of a lot of walks, particularly early, didn't need to spray the ball over the field. But a manager, being a manager, is going to find things you can get better at, and that is one of them. Again, the 0-2, and again, a foul ball. Lengthy at bat for Ethan Bruns, and Marcus Phillips appreciates that at second base. Despite an 0-2 count, already 6 pitches. Home plate umpire Andrew Kelly had a look at it. The at-bat continues with a 1-2 count. Torch short. They can get Phillips at third. Save! Looked like an easy play, but Koenig unable to get the tag on Phillips, and he slides in. So on the fielder's choice, runners now at first and third, and still just 1 out.
You don't normally want to run in this situation. Ground ball to that side. Not forced to run, but he elects to take it that time. The throw beat him there, but looked like Phillips slid to the opposite side of the tag, and because of that, he was able to get in.
Now we'll have a conversation at the mound for Coon Rapids Andover. Winners of the Minnesota Little League State Baseball Championship. Torgerson has been throwing plenty of strikes, 17 of 20. He is a phenomenal number in the first inning at 85%. But because there have been many foul balls, he's moving up in that pitch count rather quickly.
Said the South Dakota team yesterday took a lot of pitches and found a way to get on base through the base on balls. Tonight a little bit more aggressive at the plate, but they have a guy, as you said, throwing strikes on the mound. So you got to be able to adjust quickly up there. And this is a well-coached team, and they're excited about being here, as you said. Party's back home, and why not celebrate? This is a team that is 8-0 since putting this team together. And the first opportunity for them to be here, and they're really making a good showing.
Looks like we're going to have a play review right now. Phillips was ruled safe at third base. And Koenig looking over to the third base umpire, Jordan Leslie, who gave the safe call. Leslie had no hesitation, but now off the challenge by Minnesota. We'll see if the call stands. And for what it's worth, we're into our 8th game of the tournament. Only one umpire's call that's been challenged has been overturned.
And I don't think this one's going to be overturned as well, because it looked like he got him in. The tag was high up on the leg. And
think Phillips slid to the left of the bag?
Yeah, the long legs of Phillips, I think, got in there before that tag.
And oddly enough, the only reversal came in the Nebraska-Iowa game when the game ended on that play, in which Nebraska got the call and the victory 3-2.
Well, nothing to do during the break here. Just have a little chat. Here's the call.
And he's out. Good challenge.
Well, just the second one seen overturned. Watch his slide here with that left leg. Maybe they said it was in the air off the bag a little bit just at the same time as that tag was being applied. But
now 2 outs in the inning for Mason Riley. Riley had 2 of South Dakota's 4 hits in a 9-0 win over Kansas. Had a run batted in, scored a run, and had 2 extra base hits in those 2, a triple and a double. So now we have our second official overrule. Nobody on base, 2 outs, last of the first. One thing about Hayden Torgerson, he is not missing the strike zone. Coming up with his 24th pitch. And over 80% of the pitches have been for strikes.
Yeah, he's been efficient throwing strikes. It's just that this South Dakota team is fouling everything off. And
now it comes back with a breaker, John, and that's it. 2 strikeouts for Torgerson. And on an overrule, an out taken away from South Dakota. It is 1-1, Minnesota and South Dakota after 1. Pretty sky in Westfield, Indiana, 20 miles north of the city of Indianapolis, the state capital of Indiana. Midwest Regional double elimination. Top second, Jim Barber, John Gregory. Marcus Phillips getting his warm-up tosses in. Will face Seth Sanders, Jack Koenig, and Matthew Olson, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters in the Minnesota lineup. So Seth "Stick" Sanders at the plate. Check that, Saunders. And Stick takes the first pitch for a strike. Saunders is 5'10", 1 1/4. In speaking to manager Mike Koenig, he says, this is just a wonderful bunch of guys. He said, we're on the road. We stop at a fast food restaurant. Kids are as polite as ever, which is always sometimes for people a pleasant surprise at ages 12 and 13.
Yeah.
Saunders out on strikes, and he says it just makes this a very special group.
Yeah, along with coaching your son and doing all those things and having the opportunity to do this, it's a special time. But to have good kids, that's even a bonus.
And speaking of his kid, Jack Koenig now stepping to the plate. A number of these head coaches have been coaches for their sons for a number of years. They just haven't appeared in Indianapolis. And this one launched towards center field. That's Wilde in position. There are 2 outs. It makes it a special bond because over those years there have been a lot of games and a whole lot of travel. Some heartache in there, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. You know, the thing about it, you give up a lot of the summer vacations that you go to special places, and you just turn those traveling times with your family into sporting events, and what memories it creates. It's just a great time of year. You give up your summers for something like this, and it's all worth it at the end, especially if you can find yourself at the Little League World Series.
Absolutely. Saw pictures of first base coach Kevin Torgerson moments ago. Jason D'Agostino is the bench coach, and Mike Koenig is the skipper and managing the third base box.
D'Agostino was proud to be representing his son here too, coaching him up. You could see the smile. He was happy to talk about that.
2 strikes, 2 outs. Marcus Phillips again from the stretch. 2 strikeouts in the inning. And on the drop third, inning over. Minnesota up and down with nothing to report. Bottom of the 5th, bottom of the 2nd, bottom of the lineup. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. Sun about to set in 45 minutes or so. Catch all the excitement of the Little League World Series, including scores, stats, highlights, and more. Visit LLBWS.org or follow along on social media with hashtag LLWS. ESPN will wall-to-wall coverage leading to the finals in Williamsport. Our friends Clay Matvick and Chris Burke, who's an answer to a trivia question, will be part of the ESPN coverage later in the week. Burke had a walk-off home run in the 2nd longest playoff game in Major League history. Had a cup of coffee in the majors and made the most of it. Jack Riddell leading off the bottom of the 2nd. Facing Hayden Torgerson. Well, if you listen closely, you can pick up the chatter from both sides, particularly from the dugouts. Little nubbler towards second. Who's going to cover first? Base hit, Jack Riddell.
One of those balls that's hit, and the first baseman has to make a decision. Does he stay on first base or go try to cut it off? Andrew Price that time decides to go try to cut it off, and Torgerson not over at first base to make a play. A very difficult play. A lot of times I played that position. You make that decision, you get caught in no man's land. You know you can't go back and get there in time, but so you're committed once you do that.
Trace Eastman will come off the bench and become a special pinch runner for Jack Riddell. Eastman dad Travis is the first base coach. Jeff Riley at third. B.J. Boom handles the bench duties. Two strikes. Ty Noctiborn would be next. And Noctiborn has good power. Well, the home plate umpire will get plenty of help tonight from his fellow umpires in the stands.
And they may hear a lot about it because Torgerson, when he misses, he doesn't miss by much.
Nope, didn't miss there. Called third.
Breaking ball gets him looking. Yeah, sorry. Breaking ball gets him looking on that. Look at that, pretty nasty there. Fooled him. You can see the leg out front and a little buckle of the knees.
Nakteborn, good at making contact now, the hitter. Batting in the 8th position for Riley's team, which again has not lost in tournament play. A winner here yesterday and perfect in the state. You and Nakteborn would get along very well with the chicken wings.
Yeah. I was looking at that.
Toward third base. To second for one. Getting the force. And so now there are 2 outs for Jackson Grevengood.
Koenig just threw it right over the bag. Heppel was not there yet, and he was just like leading him like he was a pass receiver. And by the time the throw got there, it was perfect timing.
You can do that in football.
Yep.
You're a quarterback, you expect your receiver to get there. But baseball's a little bit different.
It's all about timing, right? He knew he was going to be there. Trusted it.
Here's Jax. And a fine running catch in right field back in the first inning. The winner of this game gets a day off. The loser has to play for survival tomorrow. Catcher Deichel will have a conversation with pitcher Torgerson.
Got quite a contrast right now. You look at Marcus Phillips for South Dakota, been really efficient with the pitch count. On the other side, you see 38 pitches there for Torgerson. He's been all around the plate, but for him, the pitch count's quite high through 2 innings.
Yeah, it feels like he's had, what, 35 strikes so far? Strike called there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pitch number 40 from Hayden to Grevengood in a moment. In the air toward short center field. Good running catch by Olsen, inning over. South Dakota gets the leadoff man aboard but fails to score. After 2, it's Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. Jim Barber with John Gregory and our fine ESPN crew. The game is tied between Minnesota and South Dakota 1-1 after 2 innings. Representative from Minnesota from the Andover American Little League for the 3rd time. The National Little League has sent 5 teams to Indianapolis, the Cardinal Little League 1. It's where some pretty good baseball in the city is played. D'Agostino leading off in the 8th spot for Mike Koenig's Coon Rapids Andover team. Be followed by Wyatt Heppel, and then back to the top of the lineup and Tyler Lunau. Over the head of the pitcher to second base, going to be a base hit. Good effort by second baseman Bo Giblin, couldn't get to it though. And so D'Agostino is aboard.
D'Agostino, another one of those contact guys, and not afraid to step up there to that 72-mile-an-hour fastball that Phillips is delivering.
Wyatt Heppel moving or attempting to move him along. Bunts that for a strike. Heppel, good second baseman. Batting in the 9th spot. And right now the game plan is to try to move a runner into scoring position. Waves and misses at that pitch, 0-2. Phillips from the stretch, wastes one outside. Minnesota playing for the first time in the Midwest Regional. South Dakota with a victory yesterday, and Heppel out on strikes. Marcus Phillips now with his 4th strikeout.
That one's 71 miles an hour inside to the lefty, and able to get that big strikeout for him. He just continues to pump it in there. The strikeout to end last inning. He did touch 74 on that pitch.
And to this point, Phillips showing very good control. Tyler Lue now, who bounced out pitcher to first on the very first pitch of the game, and one of the best leadoff hitters in this tournament. At the plate, has 2 strikes and no balls. The Major League Baseball equivalent on that pitch by Phillips, 92 miles per hour. Toward right field's going to drop. No! What a terrific catch and a double play. What a play in right field. Jackson Grevengood with his 2nd terrific play of the game. Able to double up the runner, and the inning is over. This kid's got some range, and already has come out spectacular twice. This little lady in the background's on the move. Hoping her team can come through with a big victory and continue in the winner's circle. 1-1 is our score. Jackson Levengood has been the star of this game. Grevengood just reaching out with the left hand and then pulling it in with the right. And then with the presence of mind and intelligence to get up and throw to first and double up the runner.
He's ready to go. He still has the glove on in the dugout.
Yeah. He has made 2 gems here in the game. Cohen Henry, who had a hit to start the first for South Dakota, at the plate takes a strike. Henry still a perfect trip to Indianapolis. 1 official at bat, 1 hit, 4 walks, 2 runs scored. And he is down 2 strikes. Top of the lineup, Cohen Henry, Griffin Wilde, Marcus Phillips. On the bounce toward third base. And just in time. Jack Koenig over to Price, 1 out. Henry flying down the line.
You're right, he was moving down the line. Another close play at first base that time, but love what he did. He decided to just not even question it. Henry turned around and runs right back to the dugout.
Hitting for Griffin Wilde. 41.
Logan Boone will pitch hit for Griffin Wilde. Boom, 0 for 1, and a fielder's choice out in the game against Kansas yesterday. Ball, 2 strikes. Minnesota on a home run by Jacob Deichel took the early lead 1-0 in the first. South Dakota got it back when Marcus Phillips doubled home Cohen Henry in the bottom of that same inning. And the sun now has appeared in its last go around, maybe another 35-40 minutes before twilight hits. Torgerson again, the 1-2, takes something off of that down to first base. It is a fair ball. And Boom is out, 2 outs.
Nothing more frustrating for a left-handed hitter when he hits the ball down the first base line. Maybe not in that case, it wasn't hit as hard, but you hit one hard down there, you pull it, and it hits the bag, bops straight up in the air, and the first baseman steps on the bag. That's a little frustrating.
Yeah, Andrew Price in a perfect spot. Marcus Phillips to the plate. Phillips, a couple of hits here in Indianapolis in the 2 games, 2 runs batted in. He's also walked twice, stolen a base. Favorite book is Heart of a Champion. It's a good book. Hayden Torgerson now has reached 50 pitches. Ready to go to work quickly. Two balls and a strike with 2 outs at the bottom of the 3rd. Minnesota 4th will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters.
Continue to be impressed by Torgerson when he just misses that strike. It's just off the plate. He's got great command of his pitches.
And Marcus is aboard. On base for the 2nd time today. Easy E, Ethan Bruns now coming up. Bruns the quiet leader on this team, batting in the 4th spot. Think they're getting a little nervous at that party of the Ericksons tonight?
Well, 3rd inning, halfway through.
Potential 1-run game in the making. Torgerson gets the strikeout. That's his 4th. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. On to the top of the 4th after the break. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. All the scoring done in the very 1st inning. In fact, Jacob Deichel responsible for the Minnesota run. He'll lead off. Got a Cubs fan there on the right.
Got one up in the booth, too.
Yeah. Got to the playoffs last year.
That's not me, by the way.
Yeah. I knew that. Here's Jacob Deichel. Set to start the 4th. Packs a whole lot of power. We saw that earlier. Marcus Phillips starts him off with a fastball at 72 Little League miles per hour. That's 95 on the Richter scale for the majors. That one was 74. So he's approaching the equivalent of 100. That's
96 miles an hour. He said, you're going to hit one out of here on me. I'm going to have to give you a little bit better than my 85%.
You know what? It was 72, 74, and 73. I think Phillips took that homer personally.
Yeah, I do. You know, that wasn't his 85%. I think that was his 95 to 100 there.
Well, you know what? If you can throw it and they can't catch up to it, why not?
Well,
here's Patrick Kelly, nicknamed Patty, pitch hitting for Andrew Price. And Marcus Phillips is dialed in tonight. 5 strikeouts, no walks. And just 29 pitches. We're in the 4th inning, John.
25 strikes. That is efficient as we've seen throughout this entire regional. How about Deichel, though, at the plate? Not the big guy, but he can take a hack up there.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Torgerson, who is pitching opposite Phillips tonight, he hasn't walked anybody either. Check that, he's walked 1, and he has struck out 4. He's had exceptional control. Just a whole lot more pitches he's thrown. 2 balls, 1 strike.
That's 2 times. Now he's had a big Patty's had a smile on his face, even with the check swing there.
Able to hit a little nubbler down the first base line. Is going to go foul as Marcus Phillips wisely allows that to steer right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hayden Torgerson, Minnesota's outstanding pitcher, would bat next. On the drop third, Kelly down to first base, and he'll beat it. So give Marcus Phillips a credit for a strikeout, but Patrick Kelly's aboard with 1 out.
And there's that smile on Patty's face again. He's just happy to be on the bag. And you know what? Give an assist to the stands, too. The fans on his side, the third strike, they immediately are yelling, get down to first baseline. They know the rules of this game.
Oh, yeah, got a lot of support there. Love that picture they've got there, too. Line drive skirts foul. Headed in the direction of the first base coach, Kevin Torgerson. I love those pictures.
Yeah. Really good support.
Marcus Phillips pitched moments ago. As you take a look at Coach Torgerson over at first, the Major League Baseball equivalent was 98 miles an hour. Listen to how that ball just snaps in the middle of the catcher, Cohen Henry.
Yeah, we're in the 4th inning now. He's throwing a little bit harder than he did at the beginning of this game. Really settled in now.
Headed towards center field, base hit. Runner around second will hold. So the pitcher, Hayden Torgerson, comes through. Runners down first and second with 1 out in the 4th.
Still impressed with this Minnesota lineup. He can be throwing 96 miles an hour equivalent out there, but they're still up there taking their swings. They've shortened it up. They're putting the ball in play, and they're battling at the plate.
That was the advice this evening for Mike Koenig's team. When you face a guy that throws that type of heat, got to shorten your swing. Seth Saunders down 2 strikes. Saunders struck out in the 2nd. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1 in the 4th. Two outs. And that is actually the 3rd strikeout of the inning for Phillips. Remember the drop third allowed Kelly to get to first base. So Marcus Phillips now has a chance to strike out 4 in the inning.
That pitch is just really unhittable in Little League.
Facing Jack Koenig. Koenig flew out to center field in the 2nd inning. For South Dakota in the bottom of the 4th. Middle of the lineup, Ryan, Riley, Riddell, and Giblin. Phillips again from the stretch. 2 strikes.
Boy, and if you're Henry behind the plate, you don't drop anything else but a 1.
Yeah.
Give me the fastball.
Marcus Phillips strikes out 4 in the inning. He's got 8 for the game. Wow. He's dealing at over 72 miles an hour through 3.5. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. Back to work. A look at this spacious diamond here at Grand Park in Westfield, Indiana. Jim Barton, John Gregory. It remains a 1-1 game. Both pitchers are throwing well tonight. Mason Riley leads off the last of the 4th for South Dakota. Towards short, base hit. Hit number 4 for South Dakota. And that brings up Jack Riddell.
Number 12, Bennett.
And Bennett Dannenbring instead will step to the plate as a pinch hitter. Bennett, who had a strong bat as part of the traveling team, gets an opportunity to hit here. South Dakota now with runners on base in every inning. And just recording its 4th hit of the game.
Get the feeling that 1 run for either one of these teams may may get it done for you.
Oh, yes. Take something off the pitch. And that's a strikeout for Torgerson. Nope, actually. Dannenbrink thought he was out of strikes. Got a grin on his face. He has new life at 1-2. Now 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Go ahead run at first base and nobody out in the bottom of the 4th. For Hayden Torgerson, now a strikeout in every inning. 5 for the game. Leo Huners will bat.
There's a little fastball for Torgerson. Well, I got a little fastball too that you can't catch up with as he gets that by the hitter.
Kind of reminds you of the matchup we had in the previous game where we had a pitcher that didn't nearly have the speed of his opposing pitcher, but still was getting the job done. In that game, Webb City, Missouri rallied to beat Nebraska 4-2. Tomorrow's lineup, all elimination games. Great Lakes, Wisconsin, and Kentucky will start it off. Iowa then gets the loser of this game in the Midwest. Kansas, Nebraska will meet in the Midwest, and then it's Indiana, Michigan in the Great Lakes. 4 teams will be advancing, 4 teams will be done. Mason Riley, who led off the inning with a hit, is at first base. Count now goes to 3-1. And Torgerson is drawing near to 70 pitches. So Minnesota will certainly have to get to its bench tonight. Runners down, first and second. And Jeff Riley motioning to his bench again. We'll call upon Sully Schlimgen to bat.
Pitch hitting for South Dakota, number 7, Sully Schlimgen.
At the same time, as he's making that move, Minnesota is going to make a change on the mound, it looks like. And they're going to do it.
Seth Saunders will be the new pitcher. We'll talk him up right after the break. John, we're watching Seth Saunders throw off a built-up mound. And he may have had a few problems in his warm-up. And in fact, the man he was replacing, went to the clubhouse and had motion toward that spot. We saw that in the previous game.
Yeah, they were talking about that front end of the mound where that landing foot is for the pitcher. Earlier today, we had a pitcher kind of complain about it a bit, and they brought out a rake and raked it all up. He was fine after that. But this was a field, typically around these fields, they use those fake mounds out here. This is a new mound that they built up over the last couple weeks. So that right foot, when it lands, tends to slide a bit. So a pitcher just has to make a little adjustment.
Schlimgen has taken 2 pitches, 2 strikes. Jackson Grevengood, the 9th hitter, who has been splendid in the outfield, would bat next. 2 runners aboard, 1 out in the 4th. So Saunders, facing his first batter, records a strikeout.
It's pretty good coming in from right field. He's in there just firing strikes away and gets a big strikeout there.
Grevengood has had to fight through a hurt arm But he showed no signs of it in the right field spot tonight with 2 terrific catches, one which led to a double play.
And he fired that one in to first base, too. No problem with the arm there.
Got a chance to put his team ahead here, John.
And he's a pretty good guy to have in the number 9 spot. I like him in that position. In this lineup, he's got good speed at the bottom half of this thing and can beat out some things, make it happen.
On the change, bounce to short. They'll go the short way, inning over. Minnesota able to dodge a bullet in the 4th. It remains after 4. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. Just joining us? Well, let's get you caught up. Second pitch of the game. This man, Jacob Deichel, with a blast over the left field fence. 1-0 Minnesota. To the bottom of the 1st, runner in scoring position. And the base hit by Marcus Phillips ties the game. Phillips gets a stand-up double, even at 1. The rest of the way, John, has been nothing but pitching, and very good pitching at that. First Hayden Torgerson for Minnesota, and the flame-throwing Marcus Phillips for South Dakota.
One curveball, the big yacker gets him out, and then a blazing fastball by Phillips on the mound, who at times has touched equivalent to 95, 96 mile an hour fastball in the major leagues.
Michael O'Neill will pitch it and try to solve him here to start the 5th inning. He's already thrown over 80% strikes as Marcus Phillips. And he's done so with just 43 pitches through the first 4.
You know, mention that pitch count of just 45 pitches, been able to do that. But it's not like Minnesota's helping them out. They're going after they're going up there swinging at good pitches.
Like that one towards second base. A hop and a throw, bang, bang, play, out. That'll bring up Noah D'Agostino unless we get another pinch hitter.
See this play here. Nocturne at first base. Every once in a while I watch him over there. He takes a big stride out there to help his infielders out, but sometimes he commits a little bit early in that stretch, and if you get a throw offline, sometimes he wouldn't be able to get his foot back and balance himself.
Eli Nyhammer will be the pinch hitter, number 18. Both teams trying to get their substitutes into the game. Another first pitch strike. Just 47 pitches so far for Marcus Phillips, who's not wasting any time. This is going to date me, but I was talking with J.D. Hamilton, our fine statistician, in the break. I said, you know, in a way, Marcus Phillips reminds me of J.R. Richards, who started for Houston. Had the length, the height, almost the mechanics, and he's just throwing lasers up there right now.
Yeah, the front of the mound's really not bothering him because with his length, his landing foot is almost in the grass on the front of that mound.
You know, Richards had a spectacular career at Houston, cut short by a stroke. Here's Elijah Herrick. 9 strikeouts in the game now for Marcus Phillips, who is just reaching 50 pitches. And he's not yielded a walk.
And that's 16 first pitch strikes to 18 batters.
That's amazing.
That's getting ahead.
Oh, man. Strike away from ending this inning quickly. Well, even a foul ball's applauded here.
Attaboy, Herrick. It's up there battling.
Any kind of contact against Marcus Phillips has been rare in this game. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th. Phillips at an MLB equivalent of 98 miles an hour. 2 more strikeouts now, 10 for the game a 1-1 tie. Little League University provides free educational information online for coaches, umpires, league volunteers, and parents. You can watch videos, review practice plans, get some ideas for playing catch in the backyard. Visit littleleagueuniversity.org today. John Gregory and Jim Barber got a good one here, as we did last night in the nightcap between Indiana and Kentucky. Tonight it's South Dakota and Minnesota. 1-1, bottom 5. Top of the Minnesota order, or rather South Dakota order, in Cohen Henry. Seth Saunders in relief of Hayden Torgerson. Henry has reached base 5 times in 6 at-bats. Officially 1 for 2 because he had walked 4 times in that 9-0 win versus Kansas. Winner gets a date with Missouri Wednesday at 11 o'clock a.m. That's 11 Eastern, 10 Central. The loser will be back tomorrow to play at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 Central, and will face Iowa. As tomorrow we will have 4 games, all elimination games. Outside 2-2.
Saunders coming in, as we mentioned before, out of the outfield, really has some pretty good pop on that fastball. Now he's shown a couple what I think are knuckleballs that he's trying to throw up there for a change of pace.
Changes that one. Ball swung the other way. Caught by Pat Kelly, 1 out. Good contact by Henry going the other way. Trace Eastman will pitch hit. The South Dakota team won the North Dakota South Dakota Championship. One team representing North Dakota and Fargo. Has not lost a game, and Jeff Riley was telling us prior to the game, he's the manager for Sioux Falls, that got some interest in that area and certainly building a nice program. They just need to find diamond space. That has been a concern and an issue.
Well, you think about this, first year that Sioux Falls has had a Little League program and they make it to this regional. 4 teams, just 44 kids in the league, and they're representing pretty well here.
Ending that 30-year domination from teams from the city of Rapid City, South Dakota.
When they beat North Dakota, how about Fargo? They're the only team in the state of North Dakota. Fargo represents every year in that North Dakota South Dakota championship game. So Fargo automatically makes it to that championship game, and the rest of them have to battle it out.
Yep. Officially, Sioux Falls is the North South Dakota representative in this Midwest Regional. That ball is foul. It remains a ball, 2 strikes with an out here in the last of the 5th. Marcus Phillips would hit next. Saunders with a pitch. 2 outs. Looking ahead to the Minnesota 6, top of the order.
Talk about fastball. Here's a 94-mile-an-hour equivalent fastball that time. So 2 guys dealing out on the mound.
Marcus Phillips is accounted, John, for the lone South Dakota run with an RBI double back in the 1st. Walked in the 3rd.
Pretty good battle right here. Power versus power.
Playing Phillips straight away with no wind. About the first time today we can actually say that about the wind velocity.
Flag laying down out there, for, you say, the first time.
2-strike pitch with 2 outs. 6 with the windup and the throw. And Phillips hanging tough.
Boy, Phillips is sitting up there dead on the fastball, thinking Saunders is going to try to get it by him. If he ever dropped a deuce right here on him, he may screw him into the ground with the breaking ball.
Again, the 0-2 pitch.
He's flirting.
Yep. Good battle between pitcher and pitcher. Popped up, will it stay in play? No, sir. Thing about Saunders, he's not wasting any pitches up there either. Usually on 0-2 to a power hitter. Want to see if he can chase him one on his own. That's not happening in this struggle right here.
Well, it was the same thing with Torgerson. Those guys are all around the plate.
Strike 3 called.
Wins the battle.
Phillips called on strikes. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Top of the 6th. Who's going to blink first? Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. Top of the Minnesota Coon Rapids Andover American order. And a 1-1 tie, final inning of regulation. Tyler Luhnow, been a great leadoff hitter all season long. And Marcus Phillips starts him off with a strike. Well, what else is new?
Yeah, if you're going to start the top of the 6th, you want a guy that's been doing it all year for you at the top of the order.
Blows that one past him at 72 miles an hour, 2 strikes. Luhnow is 0 for 2, a ground out and a fly out. And he was really robbed on a terrific play by Grevengood in right field on a diving catch that was converted into a double play.
And speaking of those outfielders, Grevengood, the right fielder, way toward the right field line. There's a big gap in right center field as Wildy.
That one gets away, throw down to first base, 1 out. Record another strikeout for Marcus Phillips. 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 4 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and now 1 in the 6th.
And Henry behind the plate. He's had to chase a couple down, but Noctebor, nice job that time as a first baseman, giving him a target to the outside, toward the dugout side, and an easy throw for the catcher.
You know, anytime when he doesn't get a strike, his fan support groans. Jacob Deichel's been the only player to really solve him. He took him deep in the first inning, providing Minnesota with its only run. Deichel then was a strikeout victim in the 4th when Phillips just reared back and fired it past him. But he's been inside a couple of times, and 3 balls, no strikes. Just 60 pitches for Marcus Phillips, and we're in the 6th inning. Ball 4. That's the go-ahead run, and it's a big one.
Sometimes, as a pitcher, there's just certain guys you really can't get out. He was able to get the strikeout on Deichel last time, but home run on the first pitch he saw, and now he finds himself down the first base bag.
Just under 90% is Phillips' efficiency on strikes in this game. This is Andrew Price, who wears 99. Well, do you start a runner here and see if you can shake things up on the base path?
I don't know. He throws so hard. Very difficult.
He's been inside the last 3 pitches. Still great velocity on his fastball, but he's been missing. 1-0. Price flew out to right in his only at bat in the first. 2 balls, no strikes. And now Marcus has missed on his last 6 pitches, which is un-Marcus-like.
And quickly, Jeff Riley makes his way out to the mound, and this is just going to be a let's not overthrow. Remember, we talked with Jeff Riley before the game, and he said 85% is good enough for Marcus Phillips as far as velocity-wise. He doesn't have to throw it 100%, and that's probably what this conversation is right now. Don't get caught up in the atmosphere here. This is a pretty exciting moment, and don't let the moment be too big for you.
Well, if Andrew Price, who might be looking to take a pitch here, Phillips, chance to get back on board with his first strike in a while. 2-0 pitch with a man aboard. There it is, 2-1. How many times does a manager go out to talk to a pitcher, then suddenly the next pitch is pretty effective?
And he backed it off. That one's 71 miles an hour, so not up there around 73, 74, but still good enough at 85%.
Now he's at 3-1. He's got to come through here, otherwise the lead run goes to second base. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Price taking all the way. Deichel, the base runner at first, in the top of the 6th. Big pitch. Well, looks like that conversation from Riley and support from his infielders pays off.
And Phillips was happy with that pitch there and takes a deep breath. Time to relax a little bit. Got his composure together. I think it was a great visit to the mound by his head coach, Jeff Riley, to calm him down, and that's a great look there. He knew that was an important strikeout.
This is Hayden Torgerson. Ball gets away. And a runner into second base and now in a scoring position. So Torgerson, who had a hit back in the 4th, if he comes through again, Minnesota will take the lead. Looking ahead to the South Dakota 6th, Ethan Bruns, Mason Riley, Jack Riddell are scheduled to bat. That's 4, 5, and 6 in the Sioux Falls lineup. A ball and 2 strikes. Marcus Phillips looking for a punch out with pitch number 71. On the bounce towards second base. Inning over. South Dakota now with a chance to win it. Minnesota 1, South Dakota 1. More drama to come. John, pretty good team slogan. One team, one dream. The road to Williamsport. All the games on the ESPN networks. John Gregory, Jim Barber to the bottom of the 6th, where a run will win it for South Dakota. Ethan Bruns, who's 0 for 2 in the game, will lead off. It's like we're at the Thunderdome here.
No noisemakers allowed, so use your feet stomping the stands. It's loud.
Perfectly legal and acceptable. Seth Saunders, effective in relief from Minnesota, will try to get his team to extra innings. Ethan Bruns, Mason Riley, Jack Riddell scheduled to bat in the last of the 6th. South Dakota with a run and 4 hits. Minnesota a run and 3 hits. Neither team with an error. It's been a very well played game. Down to third base. Good catch and throw, 1 out. Koenig played it perfectly. Tosses to Torgerson, 1 away.
And Koenig was positioned perfectly, just like Price down the first base line. Both the first and third baseman, you can see how close they are to the bags. You get in this situation late in a ball game, you don't want to double down the line, so you'll set your defenders close to the line for that purpose.
Just like you see in the major leagues. Mason Riley to the plate, takes a strike. Riley on the bounce towards short. Long throw to first, not in time. And so the winning run now at first base. With one out in the bottom of the innings, Lunau picks up the error. Here's Jack Riddell. They'll play him in at the third base position, possibly anticipating a bunt. Riddell on 10 instead. Skies one towards center field. Runner will have to go back to first, 2 outs. Brings up Bo Giblin, who struck out back in the second. Mason Riley representing the winning run at first base. Saunders working very quickly. Ball and a strike. Two and one. Ty Nactaborn in the on-deck circle. Now the count goes to 3-1. Another bad one here. And Sioux Falls would have the winning run in scoring position at second. Catcher Jacob Deichel out to the mound to confer with Seth Saunders.
A lot of communication going around in this ballpark right now. Whether it's parents in the stands, coaches in the dugout, everybody's getting some direction right now.
Yep, every at-bat has been key, especially late in this game. 3-1 pitch. Now 3-2. Saunders to the plate. Giblin staying alive. Again, the 3-2. And now the winning run goes to second base, where a base hit could end it. Tyler Nactaborn will bat. He's the first baseman. Well, at this point, most of the conversations with the pitcher, but suppose everybody has to recognize that there's a force at any base minus home plate.
Sure. Yeah. That's one of the things you want to cover. The other thing you want to remind them is how important that run is at second base, and you have to do everything you can as an infielder to not let that ball get by you. You have to knock it down if you're a middle infielder. You got to dive, do what you can, and you have to block it if you're on one of the corners.
Hey, this is a tense moment. How come everybody was smiling over there?
Because you got a good coach keeping the guys relaxed out on the field.
Yeah, good for him. Even saw the grin on the umpire's face. It's the way the game should be played. Chance to win it here for South Dakota. One ball. Mason Riley's the winning run at second. Saunders will work with the windup. Took something off of that pitch, 1-1.
Little breaking ball that time out front. Hitter out front, swinging a miss. You have to be careful about the ball in the dirt here. You don't want to put a guy on third base with that opportunity to score.
If we get to the seventh, Saunders is the scheduled leadoff hitter. Nactaborn would like to end it here. He's got a favorable count, 2-1. Now 3-1. Well, if you're Ty Nactaborn, you know he's got to come in with a pretty good pitch. 3 balls and a strike. And the bases are loaded. So now the winning run is a wild pitch or a pass ball away. There are 2 outs. Well, off air you predicted that Jackson Grevengood could be a hero in this game. Here's his chance.
Doesn't get any bigger than this opportunity right here, does it?
He's been sensational in the field. Can he win it with the appearance at the plate? And before anything happens, time is called. Seth Saunders has walked the last 2, which now puts Sioux Falls in a position to win. Saunders' 2 walks have come in this inning and 2 1/3. He has struck out 3. But he has gotten behind the last 2 hitters, John.
Yeah, and it's interesting the conversation as I was watching to see what was going on, and it looked like Coach Koenig was looking at his son like, I think I'm going to give you the ball. Are you ready for it? And I think he told him something that made him smile, but guess who's got the ball in his hand?
Sure.
Number 34 right there. He said, give it to me. I'm ready to take on this challenge, and not an easy challenge. Come in. This is when the umpire walks up to you and says, do you understand the situation here? You've got 2 outs and bases loaded.
So Jack Koenig will inherit the most difficult of spots. At the very best, he sends the game to extra innings. The very worst, and South Dakota will win it here.
And if I'm Jeff Riley on the other side for South Dakota, I'm going to make sure that my hitter, Grevengood, at the plate is going to make sure that that's a strike. He's going to have to prove to me coming off third base that he's going to be able to throw strikes and get me out.
All the scoring happened in the first inning. In fact, it happened on the second pitch of the game for Minnesota. Jacob Dyschel taking Marcus Phillips deep. 1-0 Minnesota. Phillips, feeling personally responsible, came back in the bottom of the inning with an RBI double to tie the game. That's been all the scoring to this point. And then the pitching has taken over, and man, it has been good. First Torgerson for Minnesota, and then Phillips for South Dakota. And now Jack Koenig trying to preserve the situation and push Minnesota to extra innings. Koenig's favorite video game, MLB The Show 17. You like to show a strikeout here against Grevengood, who's going to try to win it. First pitch. Center field, game over. South Dakota moving on. Jackson Grevengood did it with his glove and with his bat. Well, John, how did you know?
It's one of those things. He was having that type of day. A couple good plays in the outfield. He was a big part of the game, and where he was in the lineup, if they were going to score a run, they had to get some guys on, and he was just positioned perfectly. A guy I love at the bottom part of this lineup, and he's getting a hug from his coaches. And boy, how about an effort from both of these teams today? You have to feel for this Minnesota team who battled against a very good pitcher today and kept it close this entire time.
Well, Grevengood didn't wait. Jumped on the first pitch and wins it with an RBI single to center field. It scores Mason Riley with the game winner. Both teams will shake hands. They're still both very much in this tournament. A little tougher roll now for Minnesota, which has to come back tomorrow to face Iowa in an elimination game, while it's a day off for South Dakota and a matchup with Missouri on Wednesday in the winner's bracket. What is it about the nightcaps here in Westfield? How good and well pitched these games are.
What a game tonight. We had one last night, 1-0, and then we get this ball game tonight 2-1, and a walk-off base hit, and great entertainment. So happy to be a part of this thing here.
Agreed. 4 games tomorrow, all elimination games, so the heat will be turned up. For John Gregory, Jim Barber, pleased to have you with us tonight wherever you're watching on ESPN. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 Eastern, 9 o'clock Central for Wisconsin and Kentucky from Westfield, Indiana.